What's up, my boys?
What up?
This pros and cons video is not so much the basic pros and cons that we covered in the first video, but these are more the weird and quirky and interesting pros and cons of living in Portugal.
There's a lot of different ones, and we're gonna start out with a weird one, I'd say, because one of the pros of living in Portugal is that people don't care about red lights.
People, they know how to use their common sense.
In Denmark, when it's green, you walk,
When you see the green man, it means that you can cross the street.
and if it's red, you stand there until it's green, and you can be in the middle of the desert. Danish people will stand there,
When the red man is showing, you shouldn't cross the street.
and we like that you can use your brain and look to the right and left, and hey, there's nobody. I like that, but please don't drive when it's red, because they do that here too.
Yeah. People in Portugal are much more loose in terms of where to park.
I guess it's kind of a pros and cons, because oftentimes people that just throw their cars in the middle of a 2-lane street. And it caused like a traffic jam, so it's like there's an up and a downside to it.
Yeah.
But we like that you can put your car on the street if you need to. But I mean, it's not like you can park some random place for 24 hours or whatever. But if you need to go to the dentist, you can sometimes get away with it.
The only thing that you have to keep in mind here in Portugal is not to create a line, and then the system would be perfect. But talking about lines, that is something super strange that you can consider a con of living in Portugal. The Portuguese people, it's like they love standing in line.
It's more weird than a con and pro, actually.
Yeah.
It's just something we noted. You go to the supermarket, the Portuguese people, they will go to the longest line. You can have a short line and a long line, and they will pick the long line. And
Like if the service was better in the long line. I have no idea why that's the thing.
it's so ironic, because Portuguese people, they can't get fast enough through the traffic. At least it sounds like they want to, because all they do is honking and honking and honking. But then you go to the bridge, and it's like Portuguese people, they'd rather wait every day to pay with cash to cross the bridge rather than having a Via Verde. But I guess that Portuguese people, they are still quite old school when it comes to these things, because they also prefer cash, it seems, and that's a con.
Absolutely a con.
For us, at least.
Not very long time ago, we had to go to the hospital, and we had to park at Sporting Stadium, which was fine. We went in, we rewrote our ticket, we went to the doctors, and when we got back, we wanted to pay for our parking.
And guess what? They didn't take any credit card.
On any of the 6 or 8 tickets machines there were, none of them accepted card. So first of all, Joen has a very short temper, right? So whenever something goes against him, he tends to freak out like Satan would freak out.
I had to go find an ATM, and it took 30 minutes before I found one and got back. And it's just like, okay, so yeah, we can just have cash on us all the time, and we've learned that, but it's just so strange that you don't just make it like an integrated part in all businesses, that yes, you can pay with a contactless multibanco or whatever.
There is another con, which is probably something that can be considered a pro for smokers. But to the people who don't smoke and are a little bit sensitive, I think it actually can be a con that it is allowed to smoke so many places here in Portugal. Even in big shopping malls, you tend to find like smoke sections that aren't closed off. If you are from a country that has like a very strict smoking politic and you come to Portugal, you will find that it is much more loose here. People don't find it rude to lit a cigarette next to you while you're eating.
I disagree with how big of a problem it is, because I think that it's the same in Denmark, but you just don't have a climate where people sit outside very often, because you don't smoke inside on restaurants here.
People don't lit a cigarette next to you.
Yes, they do.
In Denmark?
Yes, if you go to, hvis du går ned til Bistro Royal og sidder ude foran, jeg ved med en bande på, folk de tænder en cigaret.
Skulle da ikke, hvis du sidder og spiser?
Det har jeg oplevet, det har jeg oplevet flere gange.
Jeg tror måske, jeg har oplevet det. Jeg har oplevet det, men det fandme ikke meget.
Jamen, jeg synes bare ikke, at det, altså...
Det er jo turister.
Anyway, we disagree on that, but I guess that some people are more sensitive when it comes to smoking, and yeah.
It's always worse when you have never smoked yourself.
We are not particularly into religion, but we still believe that they have the best one here in Portugal, because...
Portugal!
Football, that is a religion here. I genuinely believe that football as a religion is one of the reasons that this is one of the safest countries in the world, because if you go to a football match and you see how crazy people get,
Foda-se logo a puta da bola! Filha da puta! Maluquinho do caralho! Careca!
that is...
The way of raging out.
Yeah, that is where they get rid of all the aggressions, yeah.
But it also just creates like a very vibrant atmosphere that football is so important here. Everybody has a team. Even if it's a girl working on other women's nails in the nail store, she will have a team.
Even the nuns.
Sporting a Porto!
Sporting.
Yes! That's a big pro. Portugal might be a very, very safe country, and we also think it's very safe. And that also makes it so strange that there are police everywhere in this country.
We don't feel that they add any safety or security to our daily lives. We feel that they are more there to tell people, don't put your bike there and don't film here. What are you filming? What are you filming? No, actually you can't film this building here. There was a policeman who made Amalie delete 50 clips.
Because I was filming a store that was located in a building that I was not allowed to film.
Another big pro, and one of the main reasons we live here in Portugal, is that this is an exciting country to live in.
It's a country that keeps surprising you and amazing you.
Amazes.
And it amazes us every time we go to a new place that this place exists.
What is different from Portugal and any, an exotic white sand beach island country is that there's so much to do here. It is a country in development. There's happening so many new things here in Lisbon, for example, but just across the whole country, there's always something happening.
And there's always a new exhibition or a music festival or whatever. There's always something going on.
And we just went to two of the biggest parties here in Portugal, São João in Porto and Santo Antonio.
Vamos beber!
And it was epic fun.
And we met some amazing Portuguese people at that festival that invited us in to their home, which Juscelino did.
Are you thirsty?
Yeah. Let's have some alcohol, of course.
And also invited us to their restaurant where they were serving food and having their own little private party. And that's just how Portuguese people they are. They are just so
Hospitable.
Hospitable, is that a word?
Yeah, hospitable. Yeah, hospitable.
Yeah, that's how they are.
Coming from a country like Denmark where it's really hard to get friends because everybody is brought up to be super reserved, it's a nice change of pace. And we already have a lot of friends here. So thank you guys for inviting us into your lives, even though we are weird strangers.
But then from something positive to a con that is so freaking annoying. It's not like it's the biggest deal on the planet,
certainly
but
not.
It's so annoying. Tell them. Over to you, Joen.
Portuguese people don't know how to put up signs.
It's like they have their own navigation app inside their brain that just knows where to take them, because they certainly don't pay an effort to put signs anywhere.
You can go to Monsanto Forest.
Jeg ved det ikke. Ja, men der er hegn hele vejen rundt. Det er lige derinde. Altså, skal vi kravle over hegnet, eller hvad?
Jo, can get through here.
Oh, nice. Whew.
You can go to Colombo shopping center, and it's like completely like Michael Scofield blueprint to find your way around. It's like they designed these malls to get lost.
Or when you go to a hike on Madeira, which is a big tourist destination, there is not a proper sign showing you where the fuck you are. It's just like...
Yeah, it was 7.2 kilometers in total.
and what it actually says that it is 1.8 kilometers each way.
It's like who put these signs up here. It's one thing we've noticed here in Portugal is that the level of quality varies a lot on restaurants, and we go out a lot to eat because we love going out to eat. I mean, who doesn't?
I like to have fun.
We've experienced this quite a number of times where we go to a restaurant and it's amazing, and then the next time it's like,
who is the chef today?
What happened?
What happened? And it's so sad because sometimes you have been there once and then you want to bring your friends and you're like, guys, you gotta pay for this food because it's so good. And then they use their money on the food.
yeah.
And the food is not good.
And I have this battle with one of our friends to find new restaurants that are like, hey, you have to go here, this place is amazing. And then we go there, it's like, this place was shit, sorry.
But regardless of that, if you go to those really traditional Portuguese restaurants, the quality is mostly the same all the time.
I mean, just look at this plate.
And while being in the food area, we might as well talk about enjoying life, because Portugal is a country that just allows you to enjoy life, and it's super easy to enjoy life here.
And it doesn't really matter who you are.
No matter what you're looking for, Portugal has some of the best for that, and it can be cheap, or it could be for free, or it could be really expensive. It doesn't matter because it's still there and it's still accessible. Another thing that is quite unique for Portugal is that compared to many of the other European countries, you can live really, really cheap here.
A lot of Portuguese people, they live from as little as 600 euros a month, and that has to cover everything. And that is of course a super low salary compared to almost all other European countries. You're not gonna live super cheap in Lisbon, but if you go out to Alentejo or to the north, everything is just like, it's so cheap. A coffee is 50 cents, a beer is 85 cents somewhere, and you can rent places for, a few hundred euros a month. But
there is one thing that will never be cheap in Portugal.
No matter who you are, where you live. I mean, it just shocks us how expensive it is.
It's the most expensive electricity in Europe. How about that?
Yeah, we're paying roughly 120 euros a month for a one-bedroom apartment of 90 square meters. That's ridiculous.
But to be fair, I think that we use more than the average people because we have a lot of gear that needs to be charged, and we have work from our laptops every day, all day. So there's a lot of electricity going into our home.
Yeah, but just like imagine if there's just if you cut it in half and it's 60. Still, that's a lot. In addition to the extremely expensive electricity, there is something more that's expensive, at least if you are an expat, because we have come to realize that if you are not Portuguese, they will charge more.
So we have friends who actually tells us, yeah, it's true, if you need a lawyer and you're not Portuguese, the lawyer can easily put another 0 on your bill, because that's just how it is here in Portugal. If you want to go to the dentist and he has to be able to speak English, he has another skill set and you will have to pay more for that.
And it's quite frequently that we're like, okay, this is just ridiculous. Like we just went to the beach today and they charge 4.5 euros for a little petrache and a Coke Zero. I mean, something that we pay 3 euros for right here in the kiosk down here.
In the center of
And it's
Lisbon.
just obvious that they were conning us. And it happens all the time. It's the same with rent. As many of you have pointed out, we're paying way too much. And I'm sure that we are paying more than what a local Portuguese could get.
If you are a Portuguese person, you would probably have a network and you would be crawling around the system and find a really good way, a good service or a good deal or whatever.
I don't think it's impossible to pay the same as the local. You just really have to know the ins and outs.
And also learn the language.
Yeah.
You gotta learn the language.
Right from what we pay for our internet to our data plan, we're just paying much more than what all our local friends are paying. And I think they just see a target when we come in. It's like, okay, they're from Scandinavia. They have more money than us. Let's rob them.
Fuck them over. Let's just beat them over.
We are going to wrap up the pros and cons with a pro and con because the ocean is cold. And I've actually read a lot of articles on pros and cons of living in Portugal where people say that the ocean water is so cold.
That's a big con. But for us, it's just not a con. It's actually shock therapy, and it's so healthy for your brain, it's healthy for your skin, it's just healthy for you to go in a nice cold dip. And imagine when you have these summer days where it's like 40, 45 degrees
50,
outside.
55. Here in Portugal, you go in the water to cool off.
Yes.
But in Italy, you go in the ocean
To get wet.
But
I think this specific topic also sums up the pros and cons video very well, because something that is pros for us can be cons for other and the other way around. So take this with a grain of salt, but also take it as specialist knowledge.
We are both expats and experts.
We hope you have enjoyed this video. Remember to like it, to smash the ding dong. Most importantly, if you're new here, please subscribe, because we are amazing.
Also desperate for subscribers.
Please subscribe. Até logo. Ciao, ciao.
Até logo.
Don't worry about your pride.